Hi, my name is Bernardo Alfaro from Oregon State University. My final project looks at SDG 8 in El Salvador. I wanted to look at more than just whether unemployment is going up or down. I focus on whether people, especially young people and women, are actually gaining access to the jobs, technology, and financial tools that allow them to participate in the economy. My research started with one main question: how can El Salvador improve decent work and economic growth by strengthening youth job preparation, digital access, and financial participation? I originally started with SDG 4 because education and digital access are closely connected to being prepared for work. From there, I narrowed the project to El Salvador and SDG 8. The 2026 Sustainable Development Report gives El Salvador an overall SDG score of 68.1 and ranks it 96 out of 169 countries. So the country has made progress, but there is still a meaningful gap between where it is today and fully achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. The first thing I looked at was overall unemployment. My chart shows unemployment rising around the COVID period and then falling significantly afterward. By 2024, the World Bank reported unemployment at about 3.3%, and the UN reported 3% for 2023. So overall, the labor market appears to have recovered from the disruption around 2020. But a low national unemployment rate does not necessarily mean everyone has equal access to good jobs. That is why I wanted to look more closely at young people. Youth unemployment tells a more complicated story. My chart shows a large improvement from about 11% in 2020 to around 7% in 2023, followed by a small increase afterward. This is important because young people entering the workforce often have fewer opportunities to gain experience and build the skills employers are looking for. Another concern is that the UN reports that more than one-fifth of young people in El Salvador were not in education, employment, or training in 2023. So even when overall unemployment looks relatively low, a significant group of young people can still be disconnected from both school and work. Another important part of the picture is digital access. Internet use in El Salvador increased from about half of the population in 2019 to roughly two-thirds of the population in recent years. The World Bank reports internet use at about 66% in 2024. That matters for SDG 8 because internet access is no longer only about communication. It can affect whether someone can search for jobs, complete training, use online banking, submit applications, or participate in digital and remote work. So improving connectivity can also help improve economic opportunity. This slide shows why participation is still a major issue. Some young people remain outside school, unemployment and training, and financial access and is also limited. In 2024, only about 43.4% of adults in El Salvador had an account at a bank or through a mobile money provider. For women, that number was only about 34.4%. That matters because having an account can make it easier to receive wages, save money, make payments, and become more financially independent. So economic growth should not only be measured by how many jobs exist. We also have to ask who is actually able to participate in those opportunities. My findings really come down to four main points. First, overall, unemployment improved after the pandemic. Second, youth still need targeted support because lower unemployment does not eliminate the problem of young people being disconnected from both school and work. Third, digital access has become an economic issue because job searches, training, payments, and many work opportunities now depend on connectivity. And fourth, financial access remains a challenge, especially for women. What stood out to me is that these issues are connected. Education and digital skills can improve job opportunities, and access good work can then make financial participation more realistic. For this final project, I used data from the UN SDG data port, the World Bank, Our World in Data, and the Sustainable Development Report. My main takeaway is that El Salvador has made real progress, especially when we look at unemployment and internet access. But SDG 8 is not only about economic growth on paper. Long-term progress will depend on helping more people, especially youth and women, connect to education, decent work, digital tools, and financial services. That is what I can make economic growth more inclusive and sustainable. Thank you so much for watching.